On tonight's program, ladies and gentlemen, we have something that's going to make you sick.
My beautiful aliens, this is Editing Carlson popping in to say, I'm not going to lie, this episode feels all over the place. I was not in the best place mentally when I was doing this episode, and I feel like there's a lot of change happening in my life at the time. I am way more settled now, but unfortunately my mom's car has been sold and I will not be able to do a redo of this episode. So I just thought, you know what, I think me being in that state, and it's more honest and authentic, so I'm gonna leave the episode as it is, and I'll just say this is kind of an honor to the car. If you're new here, I'm Carlson, the host of the podcast, and I've recorded in my mom's car since 2022, and during that time I had taken a gap year from university. I was just going through a lot, and I was trying to think of the direction I want to take this podcast on. I was thinking, what do I want to bring into this world that without me would never exist? I was thinking of younger me, of my cousins, of my siblings, of people around me, and anyone around the world. I am an empath, I will not lie, and I was like, what do I want to bring into this world that if I didn't really exist, what would be there? And I think I was going through such a dark time mentally. I was feeling very unloved, I was feeling very unworthy, you know, the spiel and how it be with mental health. But I just wanted to say, being in the car, in my mom's car, was such a safe space for me. I would pick up my mic. That was a gift. I'm really grateful for this till today, because I don't think I would have started it. So shout out to you, Matthew, if you're listening. And I would use my mom's car at 2 a.m, at 1 a.m, during the day, but mostly at night, and I would just sit there and really rumble about my life. I would be honest about my thoughts and my feelings, and I was going under the alias Carlson, and I hadn't really shared my Instagram page or who I was, and I hadn't even publicly told people I have a podcast at that point. It was very much hush hush and private. So this is kind of an ode to the car. If you have a safe space in your life that you love and care for, I'm sure you'll understand how it feels, but I'm over it now. Like, you know what, this is life, change happens, we move on. And I think last week I was just going a lot of changes that I wasn't prepared for. Work was overwhelming me, I was having relationship issues, and just different dynamics of different relationships with my life were changing. And someone dear to me, who I started a video podcast with, yes, I did, go check out the Instagram, you'll see it's not for Authentically Blue, it's another podcast. She's leaving the workplace, and it was just bittersweet and too many changes happening at the same time. And I think I am not someone who works well with change, especially negative change, but I'm learning it's a part of life. I think because I've had a lot of negative change happen and my thoughts are warped. Anyways, I am in a much better place, I will not lie, as you can tell by the tone of my voice and how I'm feeling, and I hope you enjoy this episode. It's more of a self-doubt, questioning things, and things being kind of crazy in your life, so I hope it makes some sort of sense. But this is a goodbye to the podcast in my mama's car, and I'll be recording in different places. I told my dad, you know what, I think it's about time I use your car full time, because he's usually home every night with his car. And with guest episodes, I think I'll do it in my mom's car when it comes back from Kericho, because it usually stays outside. And other times I'll be recording in my brother's bedroom, in the basement, in the middle of the night. Maybe not in the middle of the night, because we're fixing our routine. And as is me rambling, I have to rush off to work. It's currently 9:39 UK time and 11:39 Kenyan time. But yes, thank you for listening. I really appreciate you being here, and I will be more consistent with the podcast moving forward. I just had a lot of things I was juggling. I was juggling 3 jobs. I had a few uni assignments I needed to finish off, and now I have the 2 separate podcasts I'm doing and a lot of editing. So life's kind of been crazy, but I will not lie, I'm grateful. And recently I just feel like there's been so many ups and downs, like just how a friend of mine called me, shout out to you, Chide, if you're listening, and I asked him how's life, I haven't talked to him in a hope. Well, he's like, life is taking me how life is supposed to take me. So if that helps you in any way, I was doing some other work, and I was like, you know what, I'm going to do a quick intro for this episode so I can finally upload it today. Oh, it's Wednesday, the 30th of July. Why am I rushing time? Yeah, we have one more day till the end of August, but I promise August, end of July. What? I'm rambling. I think that is my cue to go. But thank you so much for listening and for being here, and I hope you enjoy this episode. Alright, bye guys. My beautiful aliens, welcome back to the Authentically Blue podcast. I am your host, Carlson. It is currently Saturday, the 26th of July. There's a motorbike that's passing. It was going to make noise, hence the blubber. It's Saturday, Saturday the 26th of July 2024, 3:24 p.m. I am in my favorite place, one of my favorite places in the world. If you're not new here, it is my mama's car. As you know, if you're new here, that's where it is. And the sun is shining on me. It's daytime. I tend to record at the nighttime. I kind of have an audience, I'm not gonna lie. I don't have the time to move the car and bring it back because I'm leaving the house soon, like out to do some errands, and I have work and things I need to do in the house. But where I'm sitting, there's a few drivers and a bodyguard to someone who lives in the estate. He's a senator, and they're like, I'm like, why are you guys watching me? But I think they're like, what is she doing in the car? No, moving the car. Not my business. In today's podcast episode, however, I am going to be talking about self-doubt. As you can tell by the title, lately I've been doubting myself a lot, and I really wanted to talk about it on the podcast in case anyone is feeling the same way. Whenever I do authentic episodes on how my life has been lately, I feel like people resonate and tap in and tune in, and I feel like it's a calling, or something in the universe is drawing me to do these episodes. So this is for you if you're out there experiencing this. Hello my beautiful aliens, and welcome back to the Authentically Blue podcast. I am your host, Carlson. It is currently 3:25 p.m. 26th of July 2025, and I am in my mama's car, one of my favorite places to be in the world. I can't believe it's still not sold yet. If you're a frequent listener and you're wondering, if you're new here, hey guys, this episode's going to be an authentic rambles episode. If you don't know what that is, I am just going to blabber on a specific feeling or experience I've been having in my life lately. And whenever I feel drawn to do these episodes, it normally is because somebody out there, I don't know, I usually feel called for these episodes. And whenever I do get I'm rambling, guys, I have a horrible flu. I was telling my dad, is this coronavirus? Because my mental, the other day I posted it on the Instagram story. I wore opposite socks. I forgot to put my contacts in. I was saying the wrong thing the whole day, and I'm really good with my words. I love saying the correct thing or coming up with ideas and words for it. It's like a challenge I have for myself. That was random, but don't mind my voice, and if I do say something that's out of pocket, bear with me. That is why. Anyway, when I'm called to do these episodes, it's normally because somebody out there needs it. I'm not gonna lie, I've had people message me hey, I really appreciate this episode, you've stilled my heart, what you said made me think about things differently. And this topic, self-doubt, is something I have been experiencing a lot lately, and I think the past 2 weeks or 3 weeks, last week was less stressful. It was a lot. I had to postpone my therapy, and I was just I think I need a minute to really be in the thick of it and figure things out, and then heal from it. So if you're experiencing doubt in any aspect of your life, this episode is for you. I'm gonna talk about ways that I dealt with it, what I did to cope through it, and just a listening ear if this is something you haven't thought of and experienced. Lately, I've been doubting myself a lot, and I wanted to talk about that in case anyone else felt the same way. Specific areas I would say is relationships and my work. Those two elements have been at the forefront of almost everything, and I think I did a whole episode on vision boards, and I talked about the 7 different aspects of your life. From the top of my head, if I try and remember, I believe they are relationships, work, money, spiritual, health, and fun. Yeah, that's 6. I think I'm missing one. I'll leave the episode down below and you can join. But I would say I always say there's different seasons for different things. So it could be the first quarter of the year, the first 4 months, you're focusing on work and health, or relationships and money, and or religion, spirituality and money, like they alternate. And sometimes you can focus on 3 out of 7 or 2 out of 7. It varies. All aspects of your life will never be perfect in each moment. Like, this is something I have learned in the little years I have lived. I was telling my uncle yesterday, I'm growing old, and he's like, no, you're still young, you're just experiencing shit in life, and that happens. But from hearing other people say things, I think life is all about enduring adversity, and adversity is what makes humans grow. Okay, I've gone off tangent again, linking it back to the episode. The way self-doubt sounds to me in my head whenever I'm going through it, I personally feel like I'm not good enough, I'm not worthy, I'm not deserving, and it really does affect my energy, my decision making. It makes me make wrong decisions, or like tend to not do things that are best for me, and it makes me question, am I worthy of this? Am I capable of this? It affects my mood. I find myself anxious and nervous, and I'm acting like I'm fine when inside I'm not, and it's like, what is going on right now? I'm unable to focus on what I want to focus on because it's overwhelming to me. That's how self-doubt presents in my life when I'm experiencing this, and that's how it's been for the past 2 weeks. And I've really thought about, like, where did this come from? Is it childhood? Is it social media? Is it rejection? Is it trying to be a perfectionist? And I think all of these aspects have a tie into it to a degree. All of these aspects, I don't know what that sound is. Sorry guys, all of these aspects tie into it to a degree. But I think the thing that definitely triggered it for me was academic imposter syndrome. And I will not lie, whatever aspect of your life, I know people who their relationships, romantic relationships, are not going well, or the relationships with their family members are not going well, and they find it overwhelms them, and it leads to them being nervous and anxious and not being able to focus on different things. So for me personally, it was academic imposter syndrome, where I found myself questioning, like, am I good enough for this? Like, I can't do this, like, with nerves, anxiety, stress. One of our lecturers accused everyone of using AI, and that was crazy, chaotic, and just, it was a lot happening, and it didn't help with the feeling. So once I started feeling it that way, I think it's built into my work, where I started a new job at a radio station, and I was like, they wanted me to read want me to read the news, and they want me to, like, I did a few adverts, I was doing narrations, I was doing social media, like video content, which is something I've avoided for a long time, and these are things that I have avoided. And I would do video content, and I would sit down and think, okay, I'm doing this for a station, and the station has a specific audience group, whether it be religious, of a specific age, and I am not an expert on certain things, and I don't want people to listen or come for me online like, you're not an expert, why are you talking about mental health, or why are you talking about this? And maybe that's fear speaking, which links to self-doubt, but a huge part of that was like, I really was uncomfortable on camera, and I'm the type of person, I'm really, really expressive. That's why many people want like video content, because they're like, we want to see your face when you yap. And I'm like, sorry guys, audio it is, you're just gonna have to hear my voice and my tones and my jokes and how I phrase things, but not for my Patreon people. You'll be getting the content. So yeah, I think it linked into my work, and when it linked into my work, I would question that. Other than the video podcast, I was like, why does he want me to read the news? I didn't do a degree in journalism or communications. I did a degree in social policy, but I get that links, but it's still like, why do you want me to do the news? Like, is it because then later I found out it's like he sees the potential in me, but I was just like, the doubt in my head was like blinding me and stopping me, and even like I would tell myself I can't do it, and that is some fucked up shit. Once you tell yourself mentally you cannot do something, believe me, you will not be able to do that thing. I don't know, it's like our brain, once it hears those words, it's like, bam, that's the truth. I agree with that. So be mindful with what you tell your brain. And for me in that instance, I was like, you know what, even if he says it's a no, which he tends to tell people when they're practicing the news or writing news stories or different projects at work, I was like, I'm gonna get that. I'm gonna do my best until the best that I can possibly do and not limit myself in my head and in my brain. And I did that. And he actually said, not bad, when I read for him. And then when I did it again, he was like, that's better. And I was like, damn, it really all is mental. It's all in our head. It's all how we think. It's all how we view things and pursue things. And doubt, if you let it, it festers in your head and grows from that. Ways in which I coped with this imposter syndrome I was dealing with this time, or self-doubt I had, was number one, I procrastinated. I would overwork. Some people have healthy or unhealthy ways to cope with self-doubt. For me personally, some way that I would deal with it is I would procrastinate. I would have work I need to do and I wouldn't do it till the last minute, and then that would like trip me up and I would fuck up the work, and I'm like, prove to myself like, hey, your self-doubt had a point and was right. Other times I would isolate myself. I don't tend to compare myself to people because growing up, I just never had that thing, because my relatives would do that often, that I got to the point I'm just like, there's nobody in this world, like, it just didn't affect me. I think that's the best way I can put it. So I've never had this thing of comparing myself. Also, I think with that, what really helped is me living in different towns and cities and places and constantly going to different schools. Like I've lived in 6 different cities globally, and that really helped with not comparing myself to people, because I'm like, no one has lived a life like mine. No one has lived in Kericho in from 2009 like onwards, or 2007 onwards, when there was 1 road and now there's 4 roads, and I was the only person in my school that was from like my community, and I was in a group of like lovely people. I call myself Kale sometimes, which is crazy, but yeah. And then other times being in the UK, being in Nairobi, being in 2 different schools in Nairobi, like it's difficult for me to compare myself to people. What I do tend to do that's negative, I will say, is I escape and I neglect work. I tend to isolate myself if it's really extreme. What I do in these instances that are unhealthy and healthy, the unhealthy ways is I tend to escape, where I just want escapism, any form of escapism. Okay, not any form, that's very vague, and do not let your imagination run wild, but I just want to stop being in the moment. It could be TV shows, it could be hanging out with people I really shouldn't be hanging out with. And yes, if I had a conversation with a loved one yesterday, and they were like, a very candid conversation, that like, you need to stop this mindset, because they were in that place of like, fuck it. And that fuck it phase where you're like, it is what it is and I'm just gonna do what I want to do. Yeah, I think everyone goes through that, and when you're in that phase, you're just like, I'm gonna get so fucked up and just do whatever the hell I want to do, and then get back to your routine. Yeah, that I've stopped doing that. I'm like, officially it's done, like no more of that. So if you are listening to this, my dear loved one, I have stopped. Healthy ways I tend to do this is I go for walks and I engage my senses. And I don't mean senses in terms of physical senses. I mean, like, coming back to your senses, I just mean physical senses. That is, going for walks. I tend to swim more. I cook. I love cooking. I play with my brothers. My last born brother, who is Loki, my firstborn, I just play with him, have fun, go crazy, play with my brothers football. I play PlayStation with them. I just engage in childhood activities. When I'm on the go and I just want to really like still my mind, I crochet. That's another thing I do that's really helpful lately. But there's so many things you can do. Think about what works for you. Is it taking a shower? Is it going for a walk? Is it speaking to a loved one? Is it watching a show? Is it eating good food? Is it singing, dancing? All these things come in different. Going for a walk, going for a run. Okay, many people like going for a run and just distracting themselves. And really distracting yourself mentally, but being intentional about it in a healthy way. I think that's what really works. I think battling with self-doubt has made me question whether I can coexist with it and what I have learned from it. One huge thing that I've learned from having self-doubt is that I need to confide in people and bring it out loud, whether that's journaling or whether that's telling my loved ones, vocalizing it, like this is how I feel, or a stranger or somebody like I trust, whether that's a therapist, whether that's an uncle, whether that's a cousin, whether that's like your partner, whoever it is. I think doing that definitely helps, and removing it from your head and saying it out loud. Like yesterday when I was having this candid conversation, at one point my loved one was like, I think you're really reaching and overthinking this, or the communication styles, what you're understanding from the situation is different from what the person is saying. And I was like, I don't think so, because from my perspective this is what I feel and think. And when I am ready to have that conversation with them, or when they are ready to have that conversation with me, I am going to be honest from where I'm coming from and what I feel. So it is what it is. But yes, having conversations with people, you get to see, okay, am I in the wrong? Am I overthinking? Is my thinking right? What triggered my thinking to think this way? Or other instances I've had with this is like my fear for work. What do you mean my fear for work? I mean, my uncle would, guys, I'm yapping. I'm like, maybe I should just record this properly in the evening. Okay, let me get this straight. I would tell myself, for example, at work, when I would have a conversation with my uncle and be like, I don't know if I can do video podcast. And he's like, what do you mean? You have a podcast, you know how to converse with people. I'm like, I don't know how to converse in the terms of podcast conversing. And he's like, if this is fear, you need to face it, because you have to face fear now and not in the future. But if this is like umama, which in Kiswahili, okay, it's not even like Swahili sanifu, like proper Swahili, but it basically means you're acting like umama, like mama means woman, like you're being a woman, or like you're being not a woman roughly. Whoa, my flu is firing up. Not a woman, but what he means is you're being umama. If I roughly translate it to English, it means you're being wishy-washy, and you're not doing yourself justice. And it's like, stop that behavior, stop being a wuss, and really like do what you need to do. So yeah, I think a huge thing I've learned with self-doubt lately is vocalizing it to people is really important, as is any mental health condition. Journaling it, really being self-aware and thinking, okay, is this a me problem? What about this is triggering me or making me feel this way? Because things really do make us feel that way, and move on like that. So my dear listeners, my dear beautiful alien, what does self-doubt say to you, and do you listen to it? I would love to hear your feedback. Leave a comment down below on the Spotify page, or even DM me on Instagram. We have Discord, we have Instagram, we have Patreon, we have so many places. We have the mailing list. Check out the mailing list and let me know what your thoughts are. And I'm here for you. I hope this episode has eased your mind, and me being really candid and honest and authentic has helped you in one way or another. But this is a very rumbly, authentically rumbles episode, and I'm gonna catch you guys next week, where I'll be talking all about giving yourself grace. That is a teaser for next week's episode. Bye guys.